What are you saying, bro? You ready for another lesson?
Man, I can't wait, man. It's been a while, So.
That's a screw.
You can even tell already, you know?
Hey, right rudder, that's it.
Wheel 01, you can backtrack now.
Need to be over the field in between the two.
Alright.
What do you know about increasing the angle of bank?
Full speed.
Exactly.
You're fine, you're on the centre line, and then suddenly you're not, bro.
Next time you're in a grass, bro.
That landing. Whew.
I'm worn out.
Are you aiming to be a commercial pilot?
Yes, at some point.
Yes, so these calls, they have to be made in a commercial environment. Well done, mate. You're gonna make a good commercial pilot.
Thank you.
I'll walk up behind the aircraft.
You're very behind the aircraft. We've got a fuel leak. Yeah.
By the way, got the whiskey, sorry, which is quite strong. You're gonna make a good commercial pilot.
You still have control.
No, you tell me when you want to take control. You tell me when you want to take control.
Ever? Do I have to?
Yes. Because I say so. Bear in mind, you're going to have to work with what you've got, normally. What do you need?
That's what. I'll make use of what I've got.
Previously on Future Pilot 901.
Okay, how you feeling?
Feeling good?
Good. You're gonna go solo.
Okay. Student Will 08 is ready for departure. We're off.
Wheel down, right. Surface wind is 330 at 9 knots. We've got one to vacate.
Student Will 08.
Charlie Kilo is the right base, get out to land. Student Wheel 08, minute takes and well done.
This aircraft is so nice to fly with.
Yeah, very nice.
Victor Golf, Kid 20 Southing Controlled Airspace now in the climb to altitude 3,000 feet, heading 090 degrees.
Yes, 3,000 feet is very nice and smooth.
Yeah.
It's not like in the cloud.
Golf, resume our location, Sierra November. This comes the procedure report on both flights established.
The whole point of getting your IMC is you fly clouds. That's sort of where we are roughly. See?
Okay.
So we came in for an approach on runway 23. We did a missed approach, and now we're being vectored around to do another approach into runway 23.
Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided to stop making excuses, to sacrifice my comfort, to make my dream happen. My name is Dee, and this is my journey. This is Future Pilot 901. Yes. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome to Future Pilot 901 Live. I'm your future captain. My name is Dee, and this show is brought to you live every Monday, 7 p.m. Zulu time or UTC. The show is live on Kick and on YouTube. This is episode number 24. So we are one episode away from a quarter century. Shout out to you for being here. Shout out to us for having been consistent for over 24 episodes. Oh yeah. And the crowd goes wild. Give me a second here. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. There we go. Sweet. All right, people, how are you doing? How's it going? How's your week started? I'm telling you, it is crazy busy my side because, you know how it is working 3 jobs to live one life and fund one dream. So there's always something to do. There's always something to do. But how are you guys doing? I hope you are well. I hope you had a great weekend. Today's show, we're going to be looking at a couple of things. First of all, catching up on the last week, because we've had some really cool events happen over the last week. Then I got a couple of updates from the CAA. I was going to go into the air accident investigation branch, but I won't do that today because I would like to attempt a different way of presenting it. So I'm going to save that for next week. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the 5 important truths that aspiring pilots need. Not just should, that they need to hear. Just saying. But yeah, it's been a wild one. Do you know what? I've been working so much, and working particularly on days when I've looked out the window and gone, that's amazing flying weather, like brilliant, crispy winter skies. But I've been stuck working the day job. So I felt kind of like a little bit. So I've got a flight just before Christmas, and I'm hoping that the weather will be as nice then as it has been over the last few weeks. We've had some nice clear sky, blue sky winter days, which have been absolutely amazing. And then, of course, it rained in the evening or vice versa. Also, this last week, I got up to making some pizzas from scratch. I made some pizzas from scratch. I had to get in the kitchen and, show some skills. Do you guys want to see? You guys want to see my pizza skills? You want to see my pizza skills? All right, fine. I shall show you. I will show you my pizza making skills. So I used to work in a pizza place. I used to work in a very it was a pizza place, but in quite a posh area in London. So the cheapest pizza would be like a margherita, which was just cheese and tomato, basically. All right, tomato base, cheese, that's it. 10 inches, that probably cost £12. The most expensive pizza probably cost £30-40. So yeah, it was the high end of pizzas. So I learned some tricks. Tricks that every now and then come in handy. I'll show you guys. You guys can rate my pizza in the chat. Let me know. Where is it? Check this out. This is me whipping some pizzas, some pizza bases around to try and get them to shape. It's the first time I've actually made it from scratch. So there you go. That's my personal favorite. It's looking good. Anyways, enough of that. Just so you know, I've got those skills. So yeah, it's been a great weekend. Last week we had our flight sim stream. Shout out to the new subscribers and the new followers on Kick. Shout out to you. Yes, sir. If you didn't know, now you know. I usually have a midweek stream, usually on a Thursday, sometimes on a Wednesday, but usually on a Thursday. And I like to do it quite late, about 10 p.m. UTC. And I get to go on a flight sim. I usually use not Flight Simulator, Explain 12, and I do emergency procedures, things that I wouldn't otherwise be practicing on a normal flight. And I just use that moment to stay sharp. And usually, or sometimes there's suggestions for people watching in the chat, and I try them out. This time, someone suggested fly out to 1,000 feet, then cut the engine and attempt to land on the opposite runway. And that was a very interesting experience, I have to say. It was very, very interesting. So you might want to go back to the YouTube and, click on that video to see what happened. But with this flight that I've got coming up in July, in a couple of weeks before Christmas, I'm going to be practicing that route on the sim the Wednesday before. So that's not the Wednesday before. Would it be the Wednesday before? Let me see, because I think there's quite a lot happening around Christmas time. Let's see. So I'll be flying on the 22nd of December. So I will likely do the stream on the 18th, Thursday the 18th. So next week. Wow, Christmas really is here. And it's crazy. It's crazy. But I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to some family time. And the New Year's. I can't wait for the New Year's. One of the things I'm doing this week is getting together a plan for some guests. I'm going to have some guests on. My plan is to have a couple of flight instructors on, an aspiring pilot. Mo, the steady athlete, will be back. That's what he's told me. If he's not back, I'll hunt him down. He's going to be back for one episode only, helping us get back into shape after the Christmas period where we're going to be eating a lot. I know I will be. And potentially also, no, not potentially. I tell you what, definitely also a therapist. Why? Because it's the person behind the pilot that is most important to build up. Yeah. It's not just the pilot. There's a person behind the pilot. There's a person that makes the pilot. And it's important to have that person be okay, be good, be a good place. And for that, sometimes a therapist is needed. So I'm looking forward to those conversations. More details will be announced very, very soon. Very, very soon. All right. Well, now that we've warmed up, let's get this show on the road. All right, so first up today, we have our CAA update. So what is the latest from the CAA? What is the latest from the CAA? Let's have a look. Couple of updates. First one, scheme of charges. We covered this in one of the previous episodes. Let me use this view because I like it better. There we go. So, scheme of charges. Send us your comments on the CAA statutory charges consultation 2026 to 2027. So, this consultation document sets out our proposal for revisions to the existing UK CAA or UK Civil Aviation Authority schemes of charges due to take effect from 1st of April 2026. The increase, which is the main thing, basically is going up. Increase in statutory charges for the 2026-2027 financial year is designed to support expanded investment across the CAA's regulatory functions. This investment will strengthen consumer and public protection, foster innovation, industry growth, and enhance organizational capabilities. In doing so, it will enable the CAA to operate with greater agility, improve the effectiveness and efficiency of its services, and attract and retain highly skilled personnel. Obviously, we used to be under Europe, and so it's, I imagine, quite a bit of a job to then take on those responsibilities fully. So I guess that's the argument they're making. If you want to know more about that, you can search it on your favorite search engine, CAA, and you can type in scheme of charges consultation. And if you want to have your say, well, you can have your say right there. Alrighty then. Shout out to the lurkers in the chat, by the way. Shout out to the lurkers viewing that always keep an eye on the goings on this channel, but never really comment, chat, or even drop a super chat. But every now and then I come across people who say, oh yeah, like, how's the shows going? How's the flying going? I'm like, wait, how do you know about that? Like, yeah, because I follow you. I watch. I was like, since when did you follow me? Because I don't get no comments, no likes on the videos, nothing, like no chat in the chat. Anyways, thank you anyways for skewing the algorithm my way by clicking. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification so you don't miss anything. Of course, if you're on Kick, hit the follow button and I will not be mad at you. I promise I won't be mad at you if you drop a gifted sub. Shout out to you. Right then, what is the second update that we have from the CAA? All right. Well, the second thing that I was notified about is I'll show you guys. Give me a second. If you're interested, Runway Rehabilitation and Maintenance. That was updated. So that's CAP 781. If you just were curious on, runway maintenance and how that's regulated, as you can see, that's out November 2025. If you want to know more, sometimes it's useful to have an idea of how these things work. One day you might just own an airfield, or you might just want to know how it works because you might go for a job that requires you to know stuff like this. I find that, so for example, when I was flying as a student from North Weald, I visited the tower. It's air ground, but we call it a tower. I visited it, and they said they would welcome student pilots. And I found my visit really, really useful. Not because I'm trying to be like an operator or anything like that, but because I can imagine what they're doing when I do what I do. So when I call up and say, North Weald Radio, Golf, November Whiskey, Foxtrot, Golf, on open 2 POBs, request airfield information for local flight to the east. I know exactly how they're processing that information, which then means I know how to better work with them. I know what to expect. So sometimes it's really useful to just know stuff that doesn't directly relate to you, but indirectly relates to you because it could have an impact on how you do what you do, or the thoughts that you have and how you evaluate situations. So it's good to know. It's good to know. And I had a quick scan, but just to give you a flavor for what's in the document, I won't go through it in any way, shape, or form other than this. Stakeholders, engagement with stakeholders, hazard identification, runway incursion, excursion. Other things on here are like NOTAM requirements. So I will have a look at. Did I say I'm not going to do anything other than go through the contents? Section at least. So NOTAM requirements, blah de blah de blah, ATC procedures, public holidays, flight checking of nav aids. These are things that I particularly found interesting. So let's have a look at NOTAM requirements. Aerodrome operators should ensure NOTAM or AIP supplements have been planned in advance of the works and published by AIS prior to the commencement of the works. NOTAM should be published when the availability of any IFP is affected by the works. In the event of works overrunning, NOTAM action may need to be reviewed, particularly when a runway is returned to service daily following overnight works. There you go. So if you want to know more about that, you want to see what's in this document, you can check out Runway Rehabilitation and Maintenance, CAP 781. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your CAA update for the week from me. And I tell you what I shouldn't have to update any one of you good folks on, because you have been very loyal to the channel and you've watched every single minute of every single video. And so, yeah, I wouldn't be updating you guys on my journey to getting the PPL, because you'd have watched it. You'd have watched it all, right? Right. But for the new subscribers, because we've had a few new subscribers, since you've not seen this, check it out.
Nice takeoff.
That's a screw. I was waiting for that because everyone does it.
I'm gonna make sure that you can do it. And you can do it, I know.
Gonna get to the height of a double-decker bus.
How about this height?
Smoothly throttle to idle. Smoothly raise the nose.
This is floating. It floats.
Yes, man. Good food after a hard days of flying, bro.
Bro, it's needed, man. That landing. Woo.
I'm worn out.
Yes. Make sure you check out the videos on the Future Pilot 901 page. I will have more coming out at some point. I promise, at some point. By the way, if you're not aware, there's opportunities for scholarship, particularly if you're in the UK. The air pilots have launched their gliding scholarship and their PPR scholarship. Make sure you take yourself to airpilots.org/scholarships if you would like to find out more about that. Okay, you know what time it is. It's time for me to attempt to get to 300. So, sponsored cadet scheme is nearly upon us, and that requires practice. So I have been practicing and preparing, and that was my last score. I've been practicing and preparing, and I like to put a bit of pressure on myself to go live and do this exercise in front of people. Most people wouldn't do that. Most people probably wouldn't do that because, you know, we're easily embarrassed. We feel like our lives will end if people see us doing, you know, practicing and we fail and we hold back from doing stuff like that. But I think it's a good exercise to expose yourself to people sometimes, you know, to allow people to see your flaws, to see your mistakes, because truth is we all have flaws. We all make mistakes. Some of us are better at hiding it than others, but we all make mistakes. And if you can own your mistakes, if you can own your weaknesses, then you have a superpower, I would say. You have a superpower because you can't be embarrassed. And y'all are not going to embarrass me. I don't care if I get one. I will do this in public and I will improve over time because that's what happens with practice. Practice makes progress. So I'm going to give you the sounds of, who should I give you? The sounds of, should we go with Ty or should we go with Matty? Or should we go with the sounds of, let's see. Do you know what? Shout out to Tyrone. I'm going to go for Tyrone. Let's go Tyrone Isaac. Stuart Pure Body. As I have a go. Wish me luck, guys.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Earth, brown, melanin, mercury, soul train, cold tan, down to the chorus also. Pure gold, mad mind, mad miners, Congo, mad miners, go home, iPhone. Bad apple, pure bodies dead, bad apple. The tree spoke from Ghana. Them people, them Ghana. Shook that tree for a money maker. Sucks how I did wrong. Earth, if everybody's birth, then what's a pure body worth? My soul cry earth. Brown, melanin, mercury, soul train, cold tan. Down to the course also. Pure gold, mad mind, mad miners, Congo, mad miners, go home, iPhone. Bad apple, pure bodies that bad apple. My tree spoke from Ghana. Now my people them Ghana. Now you shook that tree for a money maker. And it sucks how I did wrong. Oh earth, if everybody's birth, what's a pure body worth? I'm so sorry. H ear the at ear T here T H E at he at he a R T H he R the at he a R the at earth ground melanin mercury soul train cold train pure heart hear the at hear the a R T H hear the at here T hot. There goes the sound of the underdog. See my dread, an underdog, you for be my dread. See my dread, sausage dog, you for be my dread. Against PITs, you'll be barking mad, please be my guest. Nappy headed sirens scream, till they don't sound the alarm like this. Brown, melanin, mercury, soul train, cold time. Down to the chorus also. Pure gold, mad miners, Congo, mad miners, go home, iPhone. Bad apple, people said, bad apple. My tree spoke from Ghana. Now my people them gone, now you shook that tree for a money maker. Sucks how I done did wrong. Oh earth, if everybody's birth, what's a pure body worth?
Okay. What did I end up with? 240 something. That's about highest score I've had. I think I've had this highest score has been 260 some. No, 280 some on stream. So still getting good score, but need to improve. All right then. Let's keep the show moving. It's going to be a shorter show today because life is lifing. Life be lifing. Right. So now that we've done all that jazz, we get to the point where I address the main topic. The main topic of today: 5 important truths every aspiring pilot needs to hear. 5 important truths every aspiring pilot needs to hear. Before that, a short commercial break. Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided to stop making excuses, to sacrifice my comfort, to make my dream happen. My name is Dee, and this is my journey. This is Future Pilot 901. Okay, so let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation about this. This weekend, I remember waking up and just feeling like, I think this must have been Sunday. I woke up and I was like, oh, I wish I could be in bed for an extra 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, just because I feel that, it's been rough over the last few weeks. It's been rough in terms of sleep. My sleep. I've just got too many things to do. And I'm very ambitious. But it crossed my mind at that point when I woke up that I wanted to go back to sleep. And then I went back to sleep. And I woke up and I still wanted to go back to sleep. And then at some point I was just like, do you know what? I'm just going to give up on wanting to get rid of that feeling, because if I sleep all day, life won't happen and I may end up in a bad position. So I decided to get up. I did my exercises and I then felt so much better, right? But what I realized in that moment is that I was looking to feel perfect. I was looking to feel like yes, I feel ready to go. And the truth is, sometimes we will feel like that. We'll feel perfect, ready to go. But sometimes we won't. Now, before anyone hunts me down, I know sleep is an important thing for pilots. And if I was flying, I definitely would make sure I get the right amount of sleep. I allow myself to sleep less sometimes depending on what I'm doing, but if I'm going to fly, I'm well rested. So let's put that to the side before I get any letters through the post or any complaints. So the first thing that I would want to share that I think is very important for aspiring pilots to hear is that, particularly when it comes to pursuing your dreams, that the perfect condition rarely exists. We want to feel just right. We want to be just right. We want our conditions, whatever that means for us, to be exactly right. But the truth is, that rarely happens. And I remember that because I stalled doing flight lessons for years because I just want to save up the right amount of money. I just want to be in the right position. I just want to have things in a certain way before I go for it. And the truth is, the ducks rarely ever line up. And you end up wasting time. So if you want to go for your dream, if you have your dream, whatever your dream is, don't wait for the perfect conditions to start. Starting is the perfect condition. What does that mean? Starting doesn't necessarily mean that you go and do a flight right this moment, but it's a commitment to learning. You might start reading the book and going through the book systematically. How much does it cost to get a book and start reading it? Maybe 10, 12 pounds for one of the books. Maybe if you want to go online, then, again, maybe 15 pounds for the month for one topic. If you're using, some of the popular study sites, you can do something. Okay, let's say you don't have money. Well, you can commit to watching every flying lesson that there is on YouTube for free. And you can watch one a day. You can watch one a week. You can get started. All right. This idea of, I'm not going to, engage in that too much because, I'm not ready yet. I'm not at that point waiting for this perfect conditions. You don't need to do that. You can get started. Whatever you can do that. And then when you can do more, do more. But if you wait for the perfect conditions, you will find that you waste time. I know I did. Another thing, important thing, number 2, that I would say to aspiring pilots, an important truth is you will make mistakes. Mistakes are inevitable, just so you know. And it's funny because when you make mistakes, and this is any area of life, it feels lonely. You feel like the only idiot to have ever made that mistake. Trust me, you're unlikely to be the only idiot. There are plenty of us around. Now, if you want to get on my back for calling you an idiot, I'm just know I said us. There's all of us. Yeah. Everyone's no one has monopoly on being an idiot. We are all idiots at different times. All right. I definitely have been. All right. I obviously chill. I use it facetiously. 1 second. I've got someone to ban. Let me just ban this person and get back to my show. All right. You're banned. So you will make mistakes. I tell you what. So one time I was checking fuel with a dipstick, checking fuel in the fuel tank. And for this has never happened before, never happened afterwards. But somehow the way I held the dipstick, just kind of allowed it to go zoom, and it disappeared into the fuel tank. And I was like, oh, what an idiot. like how has that even happened? I had no clue that was even a risk. So I called maintenance. I said, hey, look, I'm really sorry. I've gone and done something really silly, really stupid. I've dropped a dipstick in the fuel tank. And do you know what they said? You're not the first, and you probably won't be the last. And I was like, what? Like, are you serious? But I thought like everyone else would know, and it's just me, the idiot, right? They're like, no, there's been plenty of idiots before you, and there will be after you. And I was like, oh, fair dues, you know. Or messed up landings, messed up takeoffs. You know, maybe the landing was a bit too hard, and you know, as you're flying into the airfield, you're aware of this crowd that's watching you, and everyone's filming it, and you know, you mess it up. You know, you're a bit rough, and you feel like I'm the only one. Everyone else is really good. Just know, one, mistakes are inevitable, and everyone makes mistakes. It's just that you don't get to see some people's mistakes, but everyone makes it. So just make yourself comfortable with the idea that you're going to make mistakes. Obviously, try your best. Give it all you have. Prepare. Put yourself in the best possible position, but you still make mistakes. Just take it on the chin and move on. Let it go. Let it go. Don't hold on to your mistakes. Learn from them. Keep the lesson and let go of the emotion. Okay. Let go of the embarrassment, the pain, but let that spur you on to get it right, to improve, to progress. So I would say that. Number 3, an important truth for aspiring pilots to know, and things that I would have wanted to know before I started, and I want to be reminded of during my journey, is that flying is the easy part. Flying is the easy part. I'm involved with scholarship selection. So in 2023, I was a scholarship winner with the Honorable Company of Air Pilots. Now I'm involved with the interview panel of the scholarship process. So I've seen, not only have I been through the process myself, but I've seen other people go through the process. I've supported people getting through their PPL journey, both in and out of the company and just generally in aviation, in the aviation world. And I can truly say flying is the easiest part. What is much harder than the flying is managing yourself, is practicing, is dealing with people, is dealing with your own emotions and keeping yourself in check and remaining disciplined. Those soft skills are even more important than the hard skills because they uphold the hard skills. So there's a flight instructor, you guys would have seen this, who was literally flying with a student who wasn't his regular student. And as that student was preparing, he was taking the mick out of the student. He was filming the student and posting sarcastic comments on Snapchat, on social media. Unfortunately, that was their last flight. They never made it. It's the person behind the pilot. That person, that flight instructor, could fly. They could fly. They had their license. They could fly. But the person behind the pilot is what can ruin the flight. And so handling the person is a lot harder, requires more attention, requires more work, keeping yourself fit and healthy, making sure that your attitude is good and positive, making sure that you have a can-do attitude. Those things are harder. Managing your self-motivation, those things are harder. So never neglect that. And that's why if you want to check out the blog, futurepilot901.com, I've got blogs on there. My blogs were all based on this mindset because that's what held me back from becoming a pilot. And when this changed, then the flying happened. And so for me, the person behind the pilot is the most important one to work on. Number 4, important truths. No training plan equals wasting money. And I've found this to be true. One of the biggest gifts, I think, of getting a scholarship was that we are required to submit a training plan. And so I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing, when I'm supposed to be doing it. And if I was behind, I would know. If I'm ahead, I would know. But what happens is sometimes flight instructors are quick to get you in a plane, right? And they're not particularly great for flight instructors. They want the engine running because when the engine's running, they get paid. They get the time logged. So unfortunately, this can be the case where, you know, things are kind of made up on the go, right? And so what if you repeat the lesson 3 times or whatever? Like it doesn't really matter, right? They get paid and life goes on. But that might not be optimal, might not be useful for your bank account because your circumstances maybe require you to be efficient. And so one of the things that I would do is I wanted to know at the very least what we were doing this lesson, what we were doing the next lesson, and maybe the lesson after that. Because what I'll do is read up on this lesson and the next one, just in case they go, okay, you've mastered this, so let me just teach you the next thing. So I'm ready. And what I'll do is I'll practice in the flight sim the things that I'm going to do in the lesson so that the lesson was just a confirmation that I could do it rather than having to learn it in the moment. But all of that becomes possible when you have some kind of plan. If you don't have a plan, I've seen people do it, go round and round and round and not have progress. But once you have a plan, you can step back from the plan and go, okay, what does this plan look like? Okay, it looks like there's a bit of waste here. It looks like I haven't made enough allowances here. So let me speak to my instructor about how I can, you know, tighten up this area, but also maybe we can add some more hours to this other area because I probably will need more time for that. But for you to do that, you're going to need somebody who knows something about something, which means you may have to reach out to others who have done what you're trying to do before because they can talk you through it. Unfortunately, well, you could have a really good instructor that just tells you how it is. And fair enough, I've had really good instructors who have actually helped me to be efficient. And I appreciate that. And I think it's because they knew my story. They knew that I was giving up a lot. I was living in my car to try and pay for flying. So they then naturally wanted to help me and they were like very efficient. Safe, but efficient. But that's not always the case. And if you're relying on your instructor to tell you the most efficient way, well, there's a conflict of interest there because they might not need to get you to do it efficiently. I've seen instructors say that, you know, a student would need 60 hours. But then upon a little bit pressing, they got it done in 45 hours. So what is that about? But how do you know you're behind? Because you got a training plan. And how can you have a training plan? A good training plan is, yeah, talking to your instructor, but also having advice from an external person who's been through the process. That might help you. You want somebody advocating for you who doesn't have any interest in the money that you're spending. So that's something I would share with aspiring pilots. And the early part of my training, I didn't have a training plan, but I had really good instructors who helped me be efficient. The second half of my training, I was on a scholarship, so I did have a training plan and I felt the difference. So imagine then somebody who doesn't have efficient flight instructors. The gap between having a training plan and not having a training plan would be even bigger. I mean, we could be talking hundreds or even into the £1,000. Just saying. Really important to know. Finally, number 5. Well, it's blank. Why is it blank? Because I want you to tell me what you think is an important truth that an aspiring pilot should know. Whether you're an aspiring pilot or an accomplished pilot or a qualified pilot, you have some experience, some life experience, you have some flying experience potentially, and you can draw from that. What do you think is an important lesson or an important question that aspiring pilots would need to hear? Make sure you drop it in the comments. Let me know. I'm curious to know what you have on your mind. And that wraps up today's show. Encore. Wow, since the crowd is going wild, we're going to have to come back for a couple more things before we go. You know, I'll never let you go before we look at money. Got to look at what is happening to money. What is happening? Because out here, we are investors. We are investors keeping an eye on the money. Let's see what the markets are doing. Are you guys investing? If you aren't, you should be. You should be. Right, let's take a look. So we know that the market took a little bit of a hit in the last week or so. So you know the S&P 500 and Vanguard is our safe bet. So let's see what that looks like on the 1 day. Yikes. It's looking like an opportunity. looking like an opportunity. Let's see the 5 days. Okay, a little bit of up and down. I'm still learning to read charts, by the way, but we're going to learn as we go. But for now, what I'm looking at is just where it's the path that it's taken and where it's ended up. So not too far from opening, actually, in terms of the 5 days. The 1 month, gosh, when was this? That's 21st of November. So we're up on the 1 month. And all time, this is why you invested in VU, which is based on the S&P 500. It's because over time, long periods of time, it goes up. It goes up, which gives you profits. That's the whole idea of investing. Right. I think there's a stock that kind of went a little bit crazy today, and that would be NVIDIA. Shout out to Ayub. Ayub is not around today. He's out working, getting that money to fund the dream. But I know Ayub is invested in this. Let's look at the 1 day. Whew, look at that. Oh, wow. Okay, interesting. Damn, there's a nice little candle there, then drop, and then nice little rise up again there. So yeah, some people had some really cool plays. But as I said before, if you've watched the previous episodes, I'm not one for day trading. I'm a long-term investor. So NVIDIA is one of the ones I hold. Let's look at AMD. I wonder if AMD had something similar. On the 1 day, okay, interesting. But it's kind of coming back to where it started off. Interesting. What is your favorite stock? Let us know. Put it in the chat, put it in the comments. Let's see. Any particular one that I'm thinking of? NVIDIA, we've done. AMD, we're done. I tell you what, Man United is playing at the moment, but the stock is terrible. I hold because it's just my. I love my team, so I have to hold shares. But this is kind of like a failing passion project. If I'm totally honest, it's a failing. It's a failing passion project. Ay, ay, ay. Ooh, okay. Let's see. Boeing recently acquired Spirit Aerosystems, probably one stock to watch. Let me see what I actually hold some of Boeing shares. Let me see what my shares did, and then I'll have a look at the maps. Do you invest, Daniel? Are you an investor? Curious to know. Let's see. Boeing recently acquired Spirit Aerosystems. Interesting. Thank you for that tip. Let's see if that reacted. I did try to look at what happened with NVIDIA. I couldn't quite find out what happened, but let me just see what my Boeing is doing. What is Boeing saying? Let's look at the chat. Ooh. Interesting. I wonder when that announcement was made, because it's gone up nearly 10% in the last week. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Let's go back to Boeing. Yeah, so that's 2nd of December. You've had a little growth spurt. So I wonder when news of that came out. But yeah. Let me see what my my shares are doing. Where are you? Boeing shares. They're all right. Not quite light actually. Yeah, my Boeing shares are like at 2%. Not really one I usually look out for, but let's see what happens with this news, if that inspires more confidence and drives up this share price, the stock price. Let's see. Oh, you're just in the S&P 500. Okay, fair. I mean, that's a good standard index to be in. S&P 500. I mean, it is kind of the gold standard of investing, so completely understandable. And are you directly S&P 500, or do you go like via your Vanguard or Spider? Because I don't have S&P. I'm not invested in the index directly. It's through VU or Vanguard and also Spider ETFs. Because on the apps that I use, it's kind of easier to get into the S&P 500 that way. So on eToro, for you to invest in S&P 500 index without leverage, you need to put down $1,000. And I'm sorry, but I'm not doing that. No, sir. I'm not doing that. I would rather break down that $1,000 into lots of little bits and invest those lots of little bits so that I'm dollar cost averaging rather than whole chunk. But one day will come where I will be putting $1,000 and $1,000 in. So because of that, I go through Vanguard, which allows you to invest on eToro a minimum of $10. So you could literally do hundreds, tens, instead of having to do in 1,000 increments. And then on TradingView, I use Spider. So TradingView doesn't have that limit. So I'm curious actually what you use. Okay, Vanguard, got you. Yeah, same thing I do. same thing I do. And yeah, I found it quite good actually. So I think my investments a year later have done like 10%, 10 to 20%, which has been really good. Definitely beats your standard savings account interest rate. So yeah, want to keep investing. Gonna grow in this. Gonna watch more on reading charts. And as always, when I know, I'll let you know so that you know what I know, and I know it, and you know it, and we're both in the know. You know. All right, people. Well, the last thing for me to say is it's gonna be Christmas soon. It's gonna be Christmas soon, and I can't wait. And so, because I've only got a few episodes before the Christmas, I'm going to engage in my little Christmas tradition. Nah, we need to go. We need a good Christmas song. What is a good Christmas song? I don't want this quiet background music. Oh, so last week I played Mariah, and obviously that got struck, so I had to delete it from the episode. Let's look for a good Christmas song. Give me one good Christmas song. One good one. I know. Gonna wrap it up with a Christmas song. Where is it? Let's go. There we go.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing up bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun.
Wait, I nearly lost it.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime and jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air, what a bright time. It's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go gliding in the one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and a mingle in the jingling feet. That's the Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bell chime and jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air. What a bright time, it's the right time to rock the night away.
I'll get it this time. We'll go up to 10.
Jingle bell time is a swell time to go gliding in the one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and a mingle in the jingling feet. That's the Jingle Bell. That's the Jingle Bell. That's the Jingle Bell Rock.
If you want to build an
Yeah,
app
didn't quite
and
get
have
to
no
30.
idea how to code,
Didn't quite get to 30, but got far enough. Yes. So it's going to be a great time. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to the amazing Christmas period break. It's a magical time, isn't it? It's a magical time. What is the best movie of all time for Christmas? I say Home Alone. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. That's sick. What's sick? What is sick? By the way, this wasn't just randomly me trying to entertain you. If you know we were reading the book Performance Pilot. You can barely see it. But one of the ideas on improving, oh yeah, Home Alone is really good. Yeah. I remember as a kid, I was just thinking, you know, I want to be like Kevin. I want to be like Kevin. But yeah, juggling. You're talking about me juggling. I saw a video of you doing a backflip twice. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. I'm too scared to try that. There was a time when I was in a youth dance group. And oh, is that why you're doing a backflip? I've just noticed your profile pic. That's a backflip in your profile pic. Shout out to Daniel, man. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to you, man. Yeah, there was a time when I used to be in a youth dance group, and there were a few people that were like acrobats kind of thing. And one day I was just like, we used to call it rags. So rags was the idea, like, do you know what? I don't care about the consequence. I'm just gonna go for it. I was like, we'll just say rags. All right. So one day I went rags, and I just went for back handspring. So I went round off, back handspring 1, back handspring 2, back handspring 3, and I was just like, you know, and everyone was looking at me like, whoa, you just went for it. Yeah, that's as far as I got. Not doing anything else. Never done it before, never did it since. That's it. Bro, you're gonna teach me how to backflip. That might be a project. That might be a project. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. See if it makes it into my 2026 goals. But yeah, what I was saying is I wasn't just doing random juggling to entertain you. What it says in Performance Pilot is it makes the point that juggling improves or maintains your peripheral vision, which is really important. Not just 20/20 vision, which is central visual acuity, but having good peripheral vision. Because when you're landing, you're going to look all the way down to the end of the runway, and you're going to use your peripheral vision to gauge the correct rate of flare, right? How much to pull back based on how much you're descending. So peripheral vision is very, very important. And also nighttime, you are better off seeing something when you're just off it. So again, not central visual acuity, but more use of peripheral vision. That is the key. That's the key, apparently, to maintaining your peripheral vision is by juggling. So that's why I juggle. Right. Anyways, Man United are playing now, so I'm going to head off and I'm going to watch Man United. Hopefully they're going to win today. Thank you very much for being here. Shout out to you. Shout out to Daniel for being the MVP in the chat today. Shout out to the lurkers on the internet, the lurkers in the dark corners, the dark alleyways of the internet who watch but don't get involved. Thank you. Thank you to you. At least you're skewing the algorithms in my direction. I appreciate it. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn the notification on so you don't miss anything. If you're on Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. We're steadily growing on Kick, so thank you for that. Remember, this show is brought to you live every Monday, 7 p.m. UTC, Zulu time. And also that there is a midweek show, which is the Flight Sim show, Flight Sim stream, where I practice unusual emergency procedures or sometimes just maneuvers and stuff like that. So you can join me for that as well. Usually it's about 10 p.m. But again, if you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, then you will be notified. By the way, if you've previously subscribed to me, make sure you double check that you are still subscribed, because I think potentially YouTube is playing games. YouTube might just be might have a conspiracy against me. So just double check that you are subbed. All right, people. Well, until next time, this has been Future Pilot 901 live, and I have been your future captain and still am your future captain. My name is Dee, and I am reminding you to live your dreams. Peace.
Man, from living in my car to finally getting my trial flight done.
Hold it.
To being in this moment.
Come on! Well done.
Was it worth the sacrifice? Oh man.
Flat. Pull back. Maybe pull back more. Hold it there. Pull back.
Radar 130.
A bit more.
Listen. Was it worth the sacrifice?
So, power right on. Center line.
Listen, if you have a dream, it's down to you to make it happen, man. You might give it everything and it might still not work, but guess what? The journey makes you a better, stronger person. Can you imagine what kind of person you would become if you didn't pursue the one thing that you thought was the best thing in the world? You didn't pursue it. What kind of person does that make you after 20, 30 years of doing that? But when you chase what you believe is the most valuable, the most beautiful, the most awesome thing that you can do, and you give it everything, win or lose, you become a better person.